Hey everybody, this week we are finding the midpoint and the other endpoint. So we have a formula that we are going to use to find the midpoint between 2 points. So think about you've got 2 points that are plotted on a graph. They have an x and y value. So to find the midpoint, if you want to find what's halfway between those 2 points, you would find the average basically. So you're going to take the two x values and add them together and then divide by 2. And you do the same thing with the y values. You're going to add those together and divide by 2. Make sure you press enter if you're using a calculator or your phone. When you add first, make sure you enter and then divide by 2 because order of operations sometimes can give you a wrong answer. The answer is always going to be an ordered pair. So let's take a look at this first problem. So you can graph these on a coordinate grid. I am not going to graph them, but you can. We're going to add the x's together. So our first x values, we've got an x here and an x here. So we are going to add 8 and 9 together. So 8 plus 9 gives us 17. And then our second step is to divide by 2. 17 divided by 2 gives us 8.5. And we do sometimes get decimals, no big deal. So our x part of the answer would be 8.5. Now I need to find the y part of the answer. So I'm going to take the two y values. I've got a y here and I've got a y here. So I need to add 2 plus 8. Well, 2 plus 8 is 10. And the last step is to divide by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So the y value of our answer is 5. Pretty simple, right? All right, let's look at the next example. We've got a 6 and a negative 2. Those are our x's. You always do those first. So 6 plus negative 2 takes us to 4. 4 divided by 2 drops us down to 2. So the x part of my answer would be 2. My second example, I've got 1 plus 5, and that's going to be divided by 2, and that gives me 3. So 1 plus 5 was 6, divided by 2 was 3. So the y value is there. All right, let's look at what they might look like in terms of a word problem. So this is what you may see. It says on a map, Lewis's house is located at -7, 6. So they give you the coordinates of his house. And then Melvin's house is at 4, -5. What are the coordinates for Raquel's house or Raquel's home if she lives exactly halfway? Well, halfway is another word for midpoint. So we've got to add our x values. She lives halfway between Lewis and Melvin. So our two x's would be -7 and 4. Well, that's going to give us -3. Remember, pay attention to your negative signs. -3 divided by 2 gives us a -1.5. So the x value would be -1.5. For my y's, I've got a 6 and a -5. So 6 plus -5 gives me 1, and 1 divided by 2 is just 0.5 or 1/2. So because that -1.5 was a decimal, I just put my other coordinate as a decimal as well. Okay, so that's finding the midpoint. Finding the midpoint. The next video is going to teach you how to find the other endpoint. That's the other topic for this week. Okay, so take a look at the next video as well. Thanks for watching.